Probably the smartest move Netflix has made in recent years is throwing a bunch of money in the Asian markets, either to distribute their content in the West or to actively be part of their productions. Squid Game was definitely the most successful example of this strategy paying off. But 1 year before that show became a massive hit, Netflix released a very similar Japanese series that didn't get as much publicity, but that definitely got the attention of people like me who are very much interested in Asian entertainment. Alice in Borderland. Alice in Borderland tells the story of Arizu, a young man who struggles to find his place in the world and act like a grown-up. Instead, he just spends his days hanging out with his friends and playing video games. One day, while he is out with his friends, the streets become empty out of the blue. They have been transported to a mysterious place that looks like Tokyo, but it is actually radically different. In fact, both the three of them and all the people they bump into are considered visitors in that place. Each has a visa with an expiration date, and once the time runs out, a laser beam falls from the sky and kills them. The only way to increase the time in one's visa is to take part in two deadly games. The games have all different difficulty levels, represented by cards. As you can probably tell already, aside of the dead games, this show is very different from Squid Game. If the Korean show focused primarily on social warfare, with players being desperate people trying to turn their lives around, winning money, this series plays more with mysteries. Where are Arizu and his friends? How did they get there? Why are they forced to take part in these games? Who is behind the games? And even more important, is there a way for them to return to their world? On the other hand, the death games are a way to reveal the characters' true nature and become a tool for the writers to dig deeper into their personal stories and make them grow facing extreme experiences. This is probably the core of the success of this subgenre. It takes characters stuck in a life of failures and misery, something many people nowadays can relate to, and throws them outside of their comfort zone to see if they can turn things around. The journey of the characters in these stories is cathartic. Seeing someone going through extreme struggles and come out on top against all odds gives hope to the viewer. But it's a hope that is earned through an emotional roller coaster that keeps your attention high for the whole run. And here is the second great thing about Alice in Borderland. The show is action-packed. You are on the edge of your seat for most of the time, since there is no guarantee that all the characters will make it to the end. In Squid Game, you knew from the start that only one could win, and unless they found a way to break the game in the end, that was the only option. In this show, the games are much more mysterious, and you learn things about them at the same time as the main characters. The overall pace is fast, giving you a perfect sense of the always incoming danger. The action sequences are well designed, with some really impressive visual choices, supported by a solid editing. The show runs on the fast lane, but the story has some breathing moments every now and then that dig deeper in the characters' personal stories and solidify the bonds they build with each other. Performances seem all pretty solid to me, but obviously take this with a grain of salt since I don't speak Japanese. Even though this is a Netflix production, don't expect the usual Netflix crap. This is very much a Japanese show based on a manga, so there is no room for Western politics. It is just a well-crafted story with compelling characters, suspense, action, and some universal themes like the meaning of life, the value of resilience, hope, and friendship, and finding a way to go past our struggles and past mistakes to build a better future. Considering that Western media are trying to convince us daily that there's no hope left, and we should all just give up, Alice in Borderland becomes even more valuable as a reminder that it's up to us to make the most out of this life, no matter how bleak the circumstances around us might seem. I think these universal themes make the show accessible even to people who generally stay away from violent content. There is definitely a lot of gore in Alice in Borderland, but there is also a lot of heart in its characters. In 2 seasons, all the mysteries are solved. If the ending comes as a surprise, it depends from the viewer. Personally, I was satisfied with it, but even if you aren't, I don't think it matters that much in this case. As always in the greatest adventures, the journey is the real treasure.